Back to on the record. You were saying earlier, Joe, that in all these years people didn't ask for finances, but but they're there. So now, if they're asking for them, are they available for anybody who would want to see them? I mean, you're going through an audit. I mean, obviously last year's must be done. If somebody in the community wanted to see it, is there a way for them to go and to look at them if they want to? I mean, it's a public community station, so would there be a problem if somebody out in the community wanted to go and look at them?
I don't think there would be. MCK has similar rules. You can sit down with the audit and look at it as long as there's the bookkeeper's there with you to help explain, and you can't take the material out.
But I mean, if you have an executive summary of just the
money in, money out.
Yeah, I mean, most people aren't going to go through
we've never been asked. So
hopefully, you're not going to have an accountant that's going to be doing the forensic audit to try to do it. But then again, somebody may ask for one because they're asking for public inquiry in regards to the operations of the radio station. And before you say anything, I want you can respond to the question. Is that with that being said, with the radio station, saying that they don't have much money, how can you afford to bring in these big ticket workers out of the community here and pay them a salary? Is that the reason why? And this is not Mike Stock asking this, but is that the reason why we laid off employees? I guess not as high profile as them, and hired them to bring more revenue to the radio station. And that's I'll give you time.
The answer is no. You have to make it into little compartments in the radio station. First of all, there's only 3 ways for us to raise money. One is through bingo. Bingo has been the lion's share of revenue over the years, and now expenses are outstripping what we get from bingo. Advertising was the other one, and the advertising issue has never really been able to sell all the advertising it could, but it can sell more. The third way is through donations, straight donations. We had the opportunity recently, because of the meltdown in media in Montreal, that Ted Bird became available. We, as a board, the opportunity came up for him to come to work for us at a much lower rate than he was getting. Well, one quarter what he was making in Montreal, and we got commitments from people from the community to donate to his salary so that he could work at a radio station. Once we have Ted Bird there, then we can increase our advertising. So the money that's being paid for Ted Bird does not affect the operating budget of the radio station. As a matter of fact, by having him there, we can increase our advertising and make more money. The same thing with Lori and Olga in a Saturday afternoon show that was not making any money, weren't getting any revenue, and they became available. And with them brought their own advertising, and it didn't cost us a cent to bring in Lori and Olga. And it's drawing advertising because they have a following. But it's not. And the whole object here, I guess, is to raise, to get more revenue in the station, so we can operate without having a radiothon or something like that, just for operations, just to pay the ongoing.
But according to some of the information that's been going around, some of the layoffs were due to financial shortfalls, and so.
Well, yes, when you look at the weekends, and Chris Thomas, who was doing the Saturday afternoon, was a good broadcaster and a good guy. Unfortunately, he got laid off. Unfortunately, Andy Ellison, the big wrestler guy, who's a good guy, and he's been around K103 for a while, he got laid off as well. And Jenny Deere, she could only do one shift, and she had no flexibility based on her life. So, and the other thing is, K103's country music has been running at a loss forever. I grew up. That's how I got my start at K103. The very first day on the air, I was doing a country show, and I did it for years. We don't have advertising. We'd run entire weekends without a single paid ad. And that's just money going out. We got to pay the staff, pay the staff, pay the staff. So those measures were taken because there was no money. Lori and Olga, that came in because there was an opportunity, and actually to come out ahead. These are not solutions that are based on, well, forever and ever now we're going to be doing this. We're doing this because we had to look at ways to keep us going, because it costs a lot of money as well to run a news department. And one thing we don't talk about very often is that K103 runs news all day long on weekdays. Listen to Shom. They don't run newscasts throughout the day. Listen to Virgin Radio. Oh, sure, they have a little in the morning and in the afternoon, but we do it all day long, and it costs money to have people there. We have Greg Horn running the department. We have 2 other people working. Other stations don't have that. They've been laying off all over the place, closing news departments. So it costs money to do that, and the original decision was to take away from the weekend, which was losing money, and saving some of that so we could continue to have news, which is the most important function that we have, that differentiates K103 from anybody else.
And I respect that. However, the community says, so what? You know, we grew up with country, we want it. We want this, and you know what, if it's running, okay, let's run at a loss on the country, and let's try to make it up somewhere else. But because it's, you know, I hear a lot of that. It's like, well, it's a country station, now there's a new one. We're going to go and listen to that one. I mean, I haven't listened to radio, to be honest with you, in a while. It's only because I have satellite, and it's like, for me, you know, for me, satellite is, I can turn on it, I know exactly what I'm going to get all the time, and it's just only because it's convenient. When I'm home, very rarely do I listen to radio at all. But I mean, that's only me.
That's a great point, Mike, because that's exactly the thing we're fighting, and that's exactly why K103 has to work twice as hard, 3 times as hard as others, because other stations can run rock 24 hours a day, country 24 hours a day, or whatever they're doing 24 hours a day. We have commitments we have to make, and we know darn well that satellite radio is just so easily formatted to say, if you like the 70s, here's that. Here's the 80s station. Here's the 90s. What keeps K103 viable and important is the fact that it answers to the community, and it has local news all day long, which if something does happen, we're able to get that and take care of it. So,
have you ever thought of doing something like the television station does in Plattsburgh? You know, they get memberships and you know, things like that. It's more of a support, but it's an ongoing thing every year that they do it. It's WPTZ Plattsburgh or something.
I think if you want to support the play radio bingo.
That's the cash cow.
That's our number one source of revenue. But the issue of country Western has we've you know, the people in the community have told us this is what happened to country, and there is we do have to react to that, and hopefully we'll get both country and Western back on
both kinds of music.
Yeah. And you know, no, we do have to make that. And you know, there are some cost cutting we had to do. Hey, you have to remember that other radio stations like or not so much satellite but others run on automation. You know, they just have a electronic computer that just plays a string of songs, and this is a jukebox. You know, K103 is not a jukebox. You know, it's a real living and breathing radio station that not only do we have news, but we have you know, announcements. We have We Are the Iroquois. You know, we have Mohawk on Wednesday.
You have automated the weekend though, haven't you?
Yeah, and that's only
recently.
Yeah, I want to close the show because we don't have much time left, and there's going to still be a lot of, I guess, back and forth in the paper. Hopefully it's gonna slow down. You know, it's always a storm sometime, and it seems that it's a lot of always becomes to the same thing: mistrust, and it's this individual, it's that individual. You know, as board members, what message do you want the community to end the show with?
All right. We, as board members, and I've only been on the board for a year and a half, and I've always been a supporter of the radio station. Even when I was running the Eastern Door, I still supported the radio station. But the reality is that the radio station is changed. I mean, the economy has changed. The radio station cannot operate the same way it did in the 90s. It's just economically not feasible. You know, if we want a true you know, community-run station that has our music and our, you know, our issues we have to raise revenue. There's no, in an ongoing, consistent way, you know, and that's what we're trying. We're trying new things, you know. Ted Bird and Olga are new things that haven't been tried before. We're trying to do, right now, we probably have the best radio morning show in English in the whole Montreal area, you know, and that's a positive sign for our radio station, you know, and we have to build on that so that we can have news, we can have Conway Jocks' show, we can have all these things that make it a community radio, because this community itself may not be able to fund a radio station on an ongoing basis. So we have to try things.
You have the last say, Joe.
Well, as Kenneth said, you know, I've been more than a supporter. My entire adult life has been K103. It's always been there for me. I've loved everything about it. And it's really a matter of love to make sure that we just do the things that keep it here for another 30 years or beyond, because it is important to the community. And there's many times when it's just on, you know, but other times when it hits the fan, you know, K103 is there. And when there's an emergency, K103 can help. And it's been doing that for its entire existence, whether or not Kenneth is there, or I'm there, or Jean is there, or whoever. You know, people there have a dedication to what it's supposed to be. It's never perfect, and that's the reality, but our job is to make sure that it's serving the community to the best of our ability. It's not that easy.
One thing I want to say is the morale has gone up really with the the staff that are there. With the addition of Ted Bird, absenteeism is down to almost nil. The staff feel enthusiastic to be there. He has brought up he's raised the game of everybody. There's a lot of a lot of benefits from having a guy like Ted Bird that you don't get on paper. You know, it's a change, and hopefully it's not going to be there for. He's not going to be there forever, but he'll be there for a while and maybe the radio station will be able to keep its own momentum later on when he leaves.
Well, that's another episode of On the Record. I thank you very much for coming in. It probably won't go away for a while. It's still going to be controversy, and it's, you know, hopefully that it'll resolve itself and you'll get more support from the community as far as fundraising is concerned. But we have to close the show. Once again, thank you very much and good luck. You've been watching On the Record. If you have any questions or comments surrounding this show or any one of our shows, you can email us at mohawktv@hotmail.com or call us at 450-632-NEWS. That's 450-632-6397. Now, and